of observers, I think we got the third member.
What's going on, boys?
Hey, what's happening, Dan?
Michael, what's going on?
You just
Mike
got back from vacation?
Have you just changed your last name? Are you our Mike Bongo now? I would have called you by several other things you could fix, but I'm not sure about Bongo.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah. Yeah, I just got back from vacation Sunday night, and then immediately went to 2 practices with both bands. So wow. I'm playing catch up here.
Is that Exide and My Metal Heart?
Yeah. Yep. Wow. 2 gigs this week. So
Dan is the third member of My Metal Heart, I believe, to be on this show. Is that correct, Bongo Mike?
Well, we've had Elise, and we had Mark Molloy.
Yeah.
So it was only fitting to get the guy that put it all together. This is the mastermind behind My Metal Heart. Yeah.
So that's a compliment I may not take. I don't know.
It is a compliment. I admire My Metal Heart. I love that stuff. It's great.
It keeps my hair growing, you know. shave off the grays before the show, and nobody could tell how old I really am. You know? Yeah, I've been doing this a long time, as we all have.
Yeah.
So Bongo Mike, introduce me to your friend here, Dan.
Oh man, this guy is awesome. So I've only known Dan a handful of years, but I've been seeing My Metal Heart probably for 10. I mean, I've been going to shows and got to meet him, I think maybe through the Coterie. I'm not even sure.
Yep.
I think that's where we was. Yeah. And of course, mutual friends and stuff like that. But Dan Volpe, welcome to the show. We are happy to have you. And as I mentioned, you are the guy that started your Exide and your My Metal Heart, probably among other things.
Right. Yeah.
You've been on the scene for a long time, so this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I just, Pete, I just friend requested you. I didn't realize all the other podcasts that you're doing, and I'm sure we could probably talk on sales and strategies and other types of stuff. I've been in sales longer than I think I've been playing guitar.
Business, the corporate world. Everybody's a sellout, Dan. Everybody's a sellout.
Oh, that's it. I mean, I'm a geek during the week and then rocker on the weekends. What can you do?
I like it.
So My Metal Heart, how'd that start, Dan? That's your fault, huh?
Yeah, it became a variation of my main band for the longest time. I've had a band called Exide since 1984, and I had long flowing locks and used to play the Thirsty Whale and stuff like that. We decided that we wanted to make girls dance, and so Exide became more of a band that would do Beatles to Van Halen at the most, and then we dropped all the heavier stuff, and I formed a band called VVX around 2010 that played all the stuff that was Van Halen to Metallica. Nothing heavier, no real screaming and yelling, but stuff that was fun to noodle on guitar that the other band wasn't going to do anymore. As we became, Exide became more of a pop rock, alternative grunge type of stuff, where I had a co-lead singer. We would do a lot more variation as a three-piece than we could with some of the heavier rock stuff that we needed a second guitar for, or definitely a better voice than my own. So My Metal Heart, it went, the three main bands, Exide since 84, probably a major change up in around 93 when we decided to go pop. About 2010, I think that was VVX. Then VVX was really a tribute to a radio station instead of being a tribute band. It was all the WVVX and RPM, all the local metal stuff that we were getting on the radio in mono till 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be listening to a Mexican radio station. So it was what we got. And then, so VVX was fun and was formed around basically the main set lists that I had a bunch of the former jocks make for me. And, that was the Iron Maiden and the Dio, the Doc and the Rat, the Ozzy, and a lot of fun stuff like that. We continued as a jeans and t-shirt band until we decided to pop on some suits, rename the band My Metal Heart, and go back out as Cuddly Metal, I guess. I don't know. We wanted to look different. I didn't want to choose which jeans or t-shirts I had to wear on stage anymore. And it kind of became you pop a suit on and you turn into Superman, and it's a different visual. People think we're going to be playing Lawrence Welk, and we blast out, some Dio. So that's what's been going, for the longest time, Exide, and also My Metal Heart still. It's kind of just they're going hand in hand. Whoever is an open weekend, I'll book.
So did Madonna turn you in the 80s? Is that what happened? You went pop?
No, I think it started with REM and John Cougar turning into John Mellencamp and all the other. We would go see other bands. We would go see the Fabulous Janes, and we would go see, Liverpool Legends or whoever was around. And, we'd see the songs that were making people really do stuff and make a note on that. And then we'd promptly steal them because they were stealing them. So, we just made our own set list of everybody else's greatest hits, and it kind of propelled the band pretty good. When grunge and alternative kind of came in the 90s, I didn't have any vocabulary for that stuff. And Jeff and Roy, the other two guys in Exide, really brought forth anything from, Tool or Nirvana or, Smashing Pumpkins, all the stuff that was kind of happening in that scene. And I just learned it and we played it, and then that became kind of the fun way of growing the band, because we were playing popular stuff. We'd slip in a disco set, and, occasionally go back to our old selves and, play a Queensryche song if someone really was screaming for it. But, we're kind of carrying that. I don't think we've formally rehearsed since 1991 with Exide. And so that whole set list just kind of came back into popularity again. So we're just playing songs that are off that old list that still apply now. It's easy. I mean, we don't have to think very hard, but it is, it's still, we're still doing well. People like the stuff, so I keep booking it.
So you don't practice at all with Exide? I mean, you guys don't get together and rehearse. It's basically, these are the songs, and we're just going to go play them.
Yeah, we used to go Exide. We had a catalog of 500 songs that we learned, So we even challenged ourselves a couple times. We'd walk into a bar on a Saturday. The band from Friday's set list was still on the stage, and we would play it, the whole thing from front to back. Because it wasn't anything that was a challenge. We had every song down. I mean, bass player is a total savant, Roy Silva. You can hand him any instrument. He could play every single Beatles song from the first album to the last album, on every instrument. And, he's kind of one of those guys. So, 500 songs wasn't really anything we wanted to walk around with a set list. So we stopped carrying a set list, and we would every song was an audible.
All call outs.
All call outs.
And even today, you don't even have an outline or a template.
I limited it. We used to, before the invention of the iPad, we used to run around with massive books, like, cheat books. And, there were the words. But as my eyes became worse and I don't wear glasses on stage, I don't want to sing songs I don't know the words to anymore. So that chopped us down to maybe 100 songs. Okay. And, from there, we just kind of kept our standards that we liked, and what we, I don't know, Hurt So Good by John Cougar, we're still playing it. Switchin' to Glide, we're still playing it. It's
the Kings, right?
Yeah. And the story with that, someone filmed us playing that song and sent it to the Kings, and the Kings, the guitar player who wrote the song, contacted me and said, "Hey man, we really like what you guys did with that. I thought I was going to get a cease and desist."
Yeah, $500.
Yeah, but he's become, a kind of interesting, ultimate acquaintance. We chat about guitars, we chat about other stuff, and I've tried to book them with us. He's like, "Well, you could play that song if you want to, if we get a gig out there," because they're from Canada and they don't come into the United States very often. So, I don't want to call them a one-hit wonder because they have so many songs and they're still writing albums, but they write as well as, Switchin' to Glide was. It's just you don't have record companies. You don't have WLS blasting it every 5 minutes like they used to, XRT. Yeah. So those guys have a harder time coming to the United States to, tour. I really tried to get that to happen, but, I guess maybe as a one-hit wonder, as probably most places think of them as, it's probably not going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. I didn't even realize they were from Canada. I had no idea.
Yep. Yeah. And they're still touring out there. Every single one of the guys is, a longtime member of that band, and the singer sounds amazing the way he always did.
So at least it wasn't an Eagles song, because I know if you're playing the Eagles song and you get a call from one of the Eagles or their law team, it's a cease and desist. Stop playing it immediately and take whatever post you have down.
Yeah. I prefer to just get the compliment and not the cease and desist.
Exactly. Yeah. Nice.
So Dan, the Thirsty Whale. Let's go back in the day. What was it like in that joint? Good old Riverside.
It was. It smelled like cigarettes, hairspray, and teen angst. It was. I don't think anybody was over 21 in that bar.
Allegedly.
Right. Every time we played there, the sound guy would just hold down the smoke button, so that your first 5 or 6 songs, nobody knew there was actually a band on stage, but it would just be blaring. Yeah. We couldn't see our instruments. They couldn't see us until we eventually came through the haze and people could start to see us. So
it's like a Spinal Tap moment.
It very much was. Every single time, every single show. I mean, I saw King's X and a bunch of other, national acts come through there, and the first 5 songs, you didn't know that there was someone on that stage. It just was and that was more than the cigarette smoke, if you think about that.
What about the pyrotechnics in that place, or the one?
I never saw it, but their light show was par cans that were 1,000,000 watts and really low and close to your face, so you couldn't jump. You know, the drummer was getting cooked back there because the drums were just above his head sitting. And one time we played there and the top of my amplifier lit itself on fire from the lights, and all the Tolex was waving because the glue between the covering on the amplifier and all the smoke was coming out of the screw holes on the side. It looked like an effect, but it was not the way I wanted, the night to end, was putting my amp out.
If you're going to have a home improvement business, your bathroom would be a good model.
It was Hairspray City in that place. I mean, the only thing that I can compare to what that was like, I dated a girl in high school, and she used so much hairspray that if I looked on the top of her dresser, I could see a quarter under about an inch of hairspray, like shellacked into the top of her dressing room, whatever, her bedroom mirror. It was amazing.
Was her hair sticking straight up?
She had to walk sideways to get through the door. Yeah.
Who had longer hair back then, the metal guys or the girls? No offense, but I mean, when the Los Angeles rock and roll scene was coming along, there was some pretty long hair there.
Am I still visible? I'm trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Sitting next to some blinds here. I there was definitely competition that, but what was weird was, I had to go all the way to that bar to feel like a rock guy or hang out with my friends that were, like that. But in the burbs, the far northwest burbs, I don't think the girls knew what that kind of a guy was. So I really didn't start dating girls until I cut my hair off. And like all of a sudden all the girls are there and they're like, hey, it was weird. I was not around, the rock population. I was stuck in the middle of, nice suburbia.
What were the hangouts in the Northwest burbs for you, Dan?
Chances Are was kind of like our version of a Thirsty Whale.
I loved Chances Are. They used to get 3 bands each night. Right. Yeah. And each band would do about an hour, and you could go there. You could catch you'd get whatever 3. And back then I do remember seeing a few tribute bands, like a Deep Purple tribute and a Black Sabbath tribute. We all together, three bands, 1, 2, 3, go to about 1:30 in the morning.
But I was, haircut, different types of girls, Exide makes a change into pop and rock. So I'm going to Dirty Nellies to see, some of the more, pop alternative bands, everyone from Burnt Toast to, Then Mike and Joe to, I can't even remember, Birds at the End of the Road. If you wanted original type stuff, all of that was, that was more interesting to me, to kind of get away from the rock. I didn't want to get away from the rock stuff. I just, it was a different scene. I was hanging with different people. So, and then, my band needed fuel. So we would go see those guys for inspiration.
So what was the happening place? Chances Are, I mean, that was it. That was the.
I really like Nellies. Chances Are, if I wanted to get my rocks, my rocks off, and then eventually Penny Road Pub would pop up, and I don't think I went out too far out. I was kind of in the area.
How about in Schaumburg? What was it? What was the place in Schaumburg there on Algonquin?
You had. Let's see. Walter Payton had his place. You had the.
It was for live music. I know I saw Nazareth there.
Oh, right on the corner of Toto's and Jackhammers. That's what that was.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, we played there a couple times. I think. I saw everything from Richie Blackmore's Rainbow there to the Outfield.
Wow.
So there was a lot of different bands that came through there. Queensrÿche came through there. It was a good room. I don't know, now there's a Wendy's, Chicago Prime, and a bunch of other stuff. So, must have been a real estate decision.
Prime real estate, really, on that location.
Oh, yeah. But there's, nothing replaced it, And
chances are, actually, didn't that become Cabana Beach Club? right? Is that
you're right? That was another place that was
that was cool.
Popular. Or North Beach Club.
North Beach Club. Yeah.
North Beach was there's two of those.
Yeah.
I mean, we booked everywhere Joey DeMarco was putting us, all throughout the 90s. And, we would get into all of those places through, I mean, I have a list of every gig I've ever done since 7th grade, and, if I look at all the bars that aren't around anymore versus the bars that are around, it's kind of shocking. It's either bad business or like we said before, it would be property decisions, that real estate. Right now, chances are is called Rock and Roll Laundromat.
Yeah.
So I think, they keep, I've never walked in there to find out why it's still rock and roll. I'm assuming it's some kind of a nod to what it was.
Yeah. The place I used to go a lot, because I lived in Mundelein at the time when I turned 21, we used to go to Shades all the time on Apatistic and Milwaukee. Yep. And I was so disappointed when that place closed because they were really getting some great bands. It wasn't just blues, it was reggae on Wednesday nights, on Sunday afternoons. They'd have bands out on this deck that they had. It wasn't very scenic. I mean, it was you were sitting basically in a gravel lot, but I liked it. It was just a cool place, and saw some great bands there, but totally a business decision. They looked at that whole thing developed into, I don't even know what's there. There's, Wildfire and all kinds of restaurants, and it was for a while they had Viper Alley there, but then that kind of went away pretty quickly too.
Yeah, so. I had played Shades with a band called Matrix, and then I played Viper Alley with VVX, and very unusual, to be in there and people are bowling, away from you. You're trying to rock the room out. And,
bingo.
Well, and you were the weird thing about Viper Alley is it was kind of split in half. So you had this one half that was where the bands were, and then you had that whole other area where where all the bowling was. You didn't hear the bowling, which was kind of interesting. You could really focus in on the band, but I played there a handful of times with the Mosquitoes, and the only thing I remember was a huge pain in the ass because you had to bring everything up through an elevator, and the elevator was at the opposite end from where the stage was. So you had to walk it, all behind the bowling alley or the lanes or whatever, and then to the other side where the stage was. But they had a really good sound system in there. Really,
there was a good setup.
Yeah,
I mean, just down the street you got Cubby Bear North. That was open for a while, and I mean, Exide played there. I don't know, maybe 50 times. Yeah. We were always in that place. New Year's.
And that was a Joey DeMarco bar because he would book us there as well.
Yeah. I mean, Cheap Trick was in there. That was amazing, But
who did that show?
Come and go. I don't know that Joey did that, but I think it was a charity that brought them in.
No, it was headhunter.net. 25 grand and Pete Jansons put the Nielsen family in there.
Wow.
Yeah, 2001, 2002, whatever.
That was a great show.
Oh, what a great family. They're like the Johnny Cash family of rock and roll. They good peeps. Dan, the future of hard rockers, what are you seeing out there? Because I live vicariously through Bongo Mike. I just stay in my basement all the time. I'm promoting the music scene from my throne here. But do you see kids getting into the hard rock? Because we're talking about two generations behind us or in front of us, and I'm just wondering, do the kids today, do they get into the hard stuff? Like we like things at a higher beat per minute, or it's same old, same old?
I really couldn't tell you. I mean, I know there's, my girlfriend's son is a total metalhead, and, he's a 19-year-old and he likes everything hard, heavy, and fast like it ever was. My son, went through his whole rap phase. He used to walk around with his little iPad playing UFO and Deep Purple and stuff like that. And then as, I don't know if it's, the Peers or whatever it is, he picks up another and he starts listening to rap and, Tyler, the Creator, and all these different, rap bands. And now he is back on drums, back on guitar, and he's playing Everlong from Foo Fighters. And, I think that as music got heavier, harder, and stuff like that, it other than guitar solos, it kind of became easier for beginners to play. Not saying that the music isn't complex, but you can get sounds close to what you're hearing and learn and play along with something like that. That's what I thought, was happening with alternative and grunge. There were less guitar solos, and I had a music store at that period of time, and I was selling CDs as well as electric guitars out the door, and the kids could play all that stuff. They could play Green Day. They could play most of the Pearl Jam stuff. They could learn on, an easier song than it would be to learn a Van Halen song for a kid, something that would just, maybe discourage them,
Yeah.
So, I think the rock stuff is still going to be around. I'm watching, like I mentioned, these two kids, they're learning stuff that is, not discouraging for them to learn.
I don't know. My kid's about 30 and he listens to the soft stuff, and it's like poor Bongo Mike. He's got to hear me say this stuff every show, but it's like it's like the Dan Fogelberg era of kids. I think it's either they listen to that really soft stuff or they do the laptop dance music and the good stuff in between. Hi, Gail.
Hi, sorry, I was sneaking.
No, there's no sneaking, Gail. Say hi to Dan.
Yeah, why don't you come in and say hello?
Our viewers just went up.
Yeah.
Yoga's next time, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, yoga. Right.
Yoga podcast.
Right, out.
Give me 2 minutes. 3
Get the
minutes.
mail.
Make me a sandwich.
I you know what, I feel like, that like heavy metal has gone through, some different phases where, it was popular and then it wasn't popular. I just think in general, to answer your question, Pete, at least from my perspective, I think if someone likes that hard rock stuff, they're going to go back because there's not a lot of it happening today. I mean, yeah, there's guys like, Wolf Mother and, I'm trying to think of the other guys that the young kids that came out. They're like kind of have that Zeppelin sound. There's bands like that are coming out, but inevitably, if you want to go there's not a lot of bands like, let's say, Deep Purple or UFO. They're not those type of bands. So if you want to go back and you want to dig deep into, some of the retro stuff that's out there, there's a whole lot of music for them to dig into. I think that. Whether they do it on Spotify or, Amazon Music, or whether they're like me and actually go to a store and buy a CD, it's there. They have that option to go and do that, and they don't have to necessarily listen to what you call the soft stuff. Which I'm not exactly sure. I don't know what band you're referring to, but I think I like them. I think I might be on that soft stuff too. But like the EDM stuff, the EDM for me, I guess it's not real exciting for me to listen to if I'm working or doing something. But if I was at a festival, and I have done this, I will go and watch an EDM act for, a half hour, and then I've had enough. But, because I want to see somebody playing. I don't want to just see somebody manipulating turntables and stuff like that. So.
Right.
But there's no right or wrong. It's still music.
I'm just saying, like, what's the next generation going to be like, Dan? Are we going to have hard rocking bands anymore? Is that over, you think? Or are you thinking the youngsters are going to come in and,
No, I think there's always going to be distorted electric guitar around, as far as I can help it, and hopefully if my kid picks up something like that, then there's another generation going with it. But, the difference I'm more worried about, do people support live music, and can they afford to go out and, develop, be inspired by something that they see live. It's one thing to sit there and listen to, I don't know, pick a band, Stone Temple Pilots, and, you know, go through the whole album and really like it, or like you said, Deep Purple. But, you know, when you saw a band like that just take off and, you know, really just, you know, develop a show that's based around who they are. It's like cartoon characters. Everyone has their own image. They move a certain way. They play a certain way. You know, it kind of draws you in. You know, our kids going to be able to enjoy that part of anything, because, you know, Hendrix throwing a guitar across the stage, someone smashing a guitar, you can't see that on Spotify. You know, you watch it on YouTube, but, you know, when the tickets to see a guy do something like that are well over the range of a teenager's ability to go and casually go pay $10 to Poplar Creek and see Steely Dan and go, what the hell was that? You know, so those days are over.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just because concerts now are so damn expensive. But that doesn't mean you can't support live music, much like you, Dan, and myself, and maybe on rare occasions, Pete, you know, that he actually gets out to a club. But I mean, there's so much music, and we have such a rich community of talent. And, you know, I mean, like I said, yeah, if you're going to go to the big ones, you know, I was actually looking at Rush tickets today just on a whim, thinking, you know, maybe I could pick up a ticket. And it was like the cheapest ticket was like $290, and I was in like the 300 level. Yeah, that's probably more.
You're watching a TV.
Yeah, you're watching the screen. Yeah. I mean, you're there, you're feeling. I get what Dan is saying. There's a certain energy that you're getting from a live show that cannot be replicated by putting a CD in your home stereo, no matter how good it is, and turning it up, or putting that DVD in a DVD player. You got your surround sound, and you kick on because I got a bunch of those live DVDs, and I'll sit and watch them. It is not the same as being at a concert with that communal experience with people who love that band and want to see that band, and there's a certain energy and a certain something's happening in those live. And I think Dan's right in that. How can kids afford to go and see that? Let's just say they love a band like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a new band that they would go see, and they can't afford the ticket. You know, I mean, the ticket prices are so freaking expensive. Something's got to give. You know, because of Poplar Creek, I think the first time I went to Poplar Creek was, I think it was 84 or 85. And I think my ticket was $12.50, you know, with like a $2 service fee. It was very reasonable for a guy that had very little money at the time.
Right. I mean, but then everyone's going to, you know, the teens will turn into the 20-somethings. And then imagine they want to go now to support, see live music. They're into it. They want to see it. The first thing you do is try and find either their decision is going to be an original band or a cover band. If it's original, now you have to go downtown. Now you have to deal with those drink prices, the door prices, the parking, the whatever, the travel time if you want to see original music. So, okay, you go see a cover band. Now you go walk into Dirty Nellies and, you know, go see Mike and Joe or some of the other bands that are, you know, variety. I call them variety acts. You know, they're not a tribute band. Or you see a tribute band and it's a bunch of guys that, you know, I don't know, are doing Beatles or Eagles or Steely Dan or something like that. So you can't really find, you know, I don't think it's becoming harder to find what you maybe want. And if you can find some inspiration in all of the stuff that you do run into, I don't know that it encourages you to become a live music person.
And I think to one other point to be made is that there's not the number of places that focus on live entertainment like there used to be, because we just got done talking about Chances Are, and I mean, obviously Dirty Nellies is still around, but, you know, think about all those Totos and you know, Shays, and we're talking about these places that are no longer there. I mean, you used to get the IE, and you'd open up the Illinois Entertainer, and there was pages upon pages upon pages. Whatever was going on for the month, they were listening. You know, I'm not talking about the Arcadas of the world. I'm talking about the bars. And now if you pick up an IE, I think you could count on two hands how many places actually have live music and have an actual ad inside of there. So the options for people to go and see live music have diminished. Again, for one reason or another, like you said, are people just not supporting it? So the places that focus on live music are having a hard time bringing people in. They've got to pay a band. They've got to pay a staff. They may have to pay a promoter. I think it becomes difficult, and I think that's why we're seeing that diminishing,
Many things that end up, changing what happens to what happens in a bar in terms of attendance. It could be, for a while there, it was, I loved Cubby Bear North, but I wouldn't go there if I was going to have a drink or two or whatever, because there was a stream of cops that would just go up and down Milwaukee, and they'd get you for anything, because that's just what they were motivated to do. And after a while, I watched the attendance to that place go down because nobody wanted to risk it. DUI laws and blood alcohol laws and all that other stuff, that changed a bunch of people's casual, I'm going to go out, have a drink, and watch a band.
Yep.
I don't know. My rule is I only make me deaf. So, when I'm on stage, if my volume level, I'll maybe not wear earplugs or whatever. But if I go see any other band, anything with volume, I bring my own earplugs. And I don't think a lot of people do. And I think they kind of shirk away from, even if you had to sit through an opening band, by the time you get to the band you wanted to see, you're deaf. You've been blasted with 100 decibels, for an hour and a half. And now you're going to sit and watch maybe your band that you wanted to see. And, now sit through all that while everyone's this far away, yelling in each other's ears. And, I think the experience is grueling,
Yeah. You have to I bring earplugs each concert now, just to try and preserve my ears, especially if I know it's going to be loud. If the place is smaller, or I know that they're going to have their amps cranked up. And I was telling Pete earlier before you came on, is I was up at Summerfest this weekend. I was able to go and catch a few bands. And I brought the earplugs, and I got to tell you, it really wasn't that bad. The volume was very, very reasonable. Obviously, if you're going to talk to the guy next to you, you're going to have to yell, but for the most part, it wasn't deafening. Like, it wasn't like blasting. But I had them just in case. I was also further back, but I usually try not to go right up by the speaker and, bang my head. Dan,
you said...
That affects the bar attendances. Who wants to go deaf? Who wants to get busted for drinking? Are there the bands and the style of music that you support and are into?
What are you talking about? Are there chicks there? Are there girls there? Play me some Journey, Dan. Come on now. Give me some ballads. Come on. Dan,
you don't do any Journey, do you, Dan?
And I can't answer that because I don't. I was never a guy that was out there just playing for the chicks. You know what I mean? It was like, it's always my trip. I want to have a guitar around my neck and feel like, whatever it is that I'm, being a parrot for and spitting out some kind of music. It's because I practiced my ass off because I, bought this guitar or that amplifier. It was always kind of a personal journey for me, but. There were always girls there, thankfully, but it just depends on the style of music, again, if you're going to play John Cougar or if you're going to play Dio or Iron Maiden, it's a different woman that's showing up to each of those shows.
Yeah, right.
I think where I'm going with this, Dan, and I'm making a lot of assumptions from my seat here in the basement, but from what I hear, like when we would go out, all right, this band's playing and all the girls show up there. So I want to go at a higher concentration of where the girls are. But now what I'm hearing is the kids today, they don't like dating, or they don't, it's not about going out and meeting somebody anymore. I think they've all stopped, I think the birth rate in this country is going to go down to zero. So if we can't have babies, we can't have people going out to rock and roll. What are we going to do, Dan? It's your fault.
It's you playing all that Dio.
Yeah, right. No,
thankfully, in the dark. Come on.
Thankfully, we've had, each band has had good, solid, decent attendance for, years and years. I've been very lucky with that. I mean, I do promo I'm a shameless self-promoter, always letting people know where we are. And there's always been a very decent, there's always been a very decent draw of male and female. I'm always seeing, from my vantage point, I have watched in like Exide, we had a running thing. There were like 30 people that got married because of us, meeting at one of our shows. There's probably 29 divorces by now, but 30 people got married because of us. I don't even know about that with My Metal Heart or VVX. I've seen it. I know people, if you're going to, want a rock girl or guy, you're going to come to a show like ours and you're going to meet a rock girl or guy. You need to find something in common, and why not have it be the music you like? How simple.
Well, you said the key word, influential. Like, who influenced you? Like, why'd you pick guitar? Is that what was laying around? Who did you look up to? Like, why'd you get into it, Dan?
My older brother and his friends cranking, Black Sabbath and Rush and Ozzy and Ted Nugent and, definitely UFO. I would hear those guitar solos, and then, 1978 comes along, Van Halen, and those guys never stopped playing Eruption at full volume. I could hear it just throughout the whole house. It was, after a while, my brother bought a guitar, his friend bought a guitar, and every time, he would leave, I'd be on it because I wanted to do that. I thought that sounded great. I saw enough live shows. My parents were really cool with music. They'd take us to see the Box Tops and the Letterman and all these other bands that would come through Golf Mill or Mill Run, what it was called. And I would go right up to this front of the stage and look at all of that stuff, look at their equipment. And, my dad didn't care. He'd walk up there with me. I want to see the guitars. Sometimes you meet some of those guys. It was cool. I remember 1977 going to the Doobie Brothers, and the lights go down and everybody was smoking pot. And I was like, doesn't smell like my parents' cigarettes, And after a while, I remember being higher than I may have ever been as a teen.
That's what you get for going to a Doobie Brother concert.
Yes. The name says it all. But I remember, I remember watching that guy play his Flying V and, the other guys in the band all singing and playing. And I was like, this is fucking cool. Excuse my language. It just,
the right place.
It was cool. I wanted to do all that stuff. And, I haven't stopped doing all that stuff.
Did your brother still play, or is he doesn't play anymore?
He has his equipment and, never really joined a band, never learned more than maybe the 10 songs he likes to play. And, but, like I said, with my kids growing up, pianos, drums, any type of instrument was laying around the house at all times, especially to let them play it. And I would even get them their own stuff. And my brother, I think, did the same thing, because my nephew now, he's playing, my son is playing. It's like, it's cool. I never pushed it, but if you wanted to learn something, I'd show it to you. Yeah. I'm self-taught. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'll help you,
Was Eddie Van Halen influential? Because, he made the big thing about the hammering, right? Yeah. Eruption and all that. So that was a whole...
I wanted all of those techniques, as part of my vocabulary, but I never really... Like, if I ever went and saw Van Halen, or I ever saw, Michael Schenker or something like that, I wanted to go as a listener. I didn't want to go as a guitar player analyzing everything. I really wanted to I still like being reduced to a listener again, because someone is so good. Go see Eric Johnson, go see, Scott Henderson, or any of these great guitar players, Frank Gambale. I can't play any of his stuff. I can figure it out if you give me long enough, but I don't want to. I just want to be a listener and enjoy it again, for the reasons of why I like music.
Who do you think the best guitarist is that's still playing today?
I just saw Paul Gilbert and Greg Koch, Koch, K-O-C-H.
Koch.
Koch. He's always.
I saw him on Friday at Summerfest.
Yeah, he's always there. He's a Wisconsin guy. He's fantastic.
Clue me in. I have no idea who this is.
So Greg you need Koch. To, set him up.
Greg Koch Trio.
They just played the Vixen, and you just sit there with your, you've got guys that are playing circles around everybody else, technique wise, tone wise. They've got it all. I mean, those guys have it all down, and are some of the great players. It's just, you become a listener. You get to enjoy guitar for what it is.
I posted a live clip from that show, just one of them, because when I got there, they were doing Standing on Shaky Ground. But the next song they did was this instrumental thing, and that Greg Koch guy was just unbelievable. He was just shredding away. It was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't know the song, but I could sit and appreciate it,
I think he's been at every Summerfest since the beginning.
Yep. I've seen him a few times.
Yeah. He's great.
Oh, yeah.
Dan, have power chords always been around?
I want to say yes, but at one point in time when I was just learning guitar, I thought the thinnest string was the one you played the solo on. And the thickest string you played the rhythm on. I didn't know what the 4 middle strings were for. So until I learned the power chord, and it was an aha moment, then I could learn all the Black Sabbath I wanted. I could learn all the AC/DC. I could learn, all the tunes I needed at that point.
Because we get this is in the AI snobbery segment of the show. Cover bands are pissed off at AI. People that are playing other people's music are pissed off at AI for coming up with.
Right. I quickly saw a headline today that said Tidal, which is like a streaming service. I'm not on it, but they said that they will not pay out any money on AI made songs. So, these guys can get 1 billion streams, but they're not going to get paid for it because it's not, to them, actual music. It wasn't created by anybody.
Well, they're going to make their own. That's why YouTube's doing the same thing. They're going to kick off the little guy and make their own stuff. Unfortunately, but till that time happens, Dan, if you can do a power chord, and everybody's doing power chords,
right,
and everybody's copying off of everybody else, what's the difference?
I don't know.
You're no fun.
Well, I mean, I'm not against it. I've seen some very, very recent examples of what AI can do. A friend of mine is making, he's got all of the music subscriptions and he's got all of the video subscriptions, and he does not really play all the instruments. He comes up with the melody, and this thing spits out absolutely amazing interpretations of what his melody was, and it could be 4 or 5 minutes long, with full instrumentation. The reverb is on the vocals and everything. I mean, it's unbelievable. I got another buddy that I work with that he doesn't have a musical bone in his body, but he can write words. So he pumps it in. He says, make it sound like the singer from Creed, presses a button, and the song comes out with his words. He now has a whole album, has never played a lick of music in his life, but has every bit of the words down. And it sounds kind of like Scott Stapp from Creed singing his whole album. He just likes that voice. He likes that style, and it gave it to him.
Wow.
So,
yeah, it's pretty amazing how when you put that stuff in, even if it's not music, even if it's like just creating a poster or something you want to create, and AI is able to come up with something, you're like, that's pretty fucking cool,
Yeah. I mean, I want to use it. I'll sign up for it eventually, but I want it to finish some of the ideas that a bunch, over the years, many, many different musicians in a room, we would fart around with ideas or a riff I came up with, and nothing ever stuck. Nothing ever got finished. It's a good riff. I don't know how to finish this song. Boom. If that thing shot me back 20 different ideas on the next part of the song, I select that part. Okay, I can't play something under the solo. I want something ripping like Ozzy or something crazy. If it came back with something and gave me what I wanted, there we go. I could always get a band to learn this, I don't have to have them on, the recording. I kind of don't care, Yeah. So as a writing partner, I'm willing to sit down with Mr. AI and give it a shot.
maybe we take the musician part out of it and just say anybody can be a composer.
That's why not?
Yeah,
Anybody can now make a book. Anybody can make up a picture. Anybody can make a video. Anybody can make,
Everybody is an editor of their experience. So it's, for $20 a month, can I go can I pay Spotify and listen to Rush reruns again? Or can I make up something of my own that I can mix in to keep it fresh? I think more people will get on that. Maybe not this decade, but maybe I could be wrong. Bongo Mike, we're getting towards the end here, and I got some unanswered questions that I'm patiently waiting for from you.
Yeah, you love these questions, don't you? I got some good ones tonight too.
Okay,
I got some good ones because I know Dan. That's why I can ask these things.
I'm going to put a log on the fire. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're ready. He's ready for it. First question for Dan. I just like to ask this question only because I already know the answer. How many guitars do you have?
The better question is, how many guitars have I had?
Okay, do that one.
I think that in my ownership, I have had 1,000 guitars. Because since buying my very first guitar, my second guitar, and then 4 years working at Soundpost, a music store that was local, and 3 years of being a partner at a vintage and used store, I would constantly buy and sell stuff. Whether I kept it was another thing. But I think I've owned 1,000 guitars, and it's there's something right and wrong about that.
Yeah. It's if you love that instrument like you do, then to the collector or to the person that likes to, have that in their collection, whatever, it's your passion, right? I mean, it's no different than with me with drums. And Dan knows this because Dan's been in my basement. It's just a bunch of freaking drums. I mean, it's mini Tims, it's regular Tims, it's djembes, it's cajones. But, I think I counted it one time. I think I was at like 82 or 83 different drums. And now, of course, I've got, different things that I'm counting as drums. If I have a set of 5 tempo blocks, I don't count that as one. I count it as 5. And little side note, Dan over here, awesome dude. When he was at my house, he noticed I had 2 guitars. And they both were in horrible condition. Actually, the Gibson Sonix 180 wasn't in bad condition. It just needed a little TLC. And then my acoustic guitar, I remember the day that my nephew was over. He was very little at the time, and he crawled on it and separated the neck from the body.
Yeah, it was good for that guitar was good for archery. You could get a full back bow and release, and it was in bad shape. And you could just hear it was never going to be in tune again. And Dan took those guitars and magic came out of it because he brought them back and they were back to life. I still can't play them. Pete, to your power chord, I can do a couple power chords. I could play you Louie Louie. I could play you Wild Thing, and I can't do anything else.
Dan, let's make a clip here. Les Paul versus Strat guys. Is there a difference in the guitars?
There's a big difference in the sound. I guess you're going to want to know which direction you're going to want to go.
Yep.
I have played songs that would have required a Les Paul and played a Strat instead. And, you do realize why, certain sounds are apparent. You cannot play Iron Maiden on a single coil Stratocaster. You could play a Stratocaster that has a humbucker in there, like a Les Paul, and play that stuff, which is what those guys did. But there's certain sounds that you can't get through.
Yeah, you can't replicate it. Yeah.
But my guitars are wired to be able to do both of those guitar sounds. So
couldn't you just get one of those Line 6? And then those who just whatever, it gives you whatever amp, whatever sound you need, right? I mean, that's one way around it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that works or not. I'm not a guitar guy.
No, I mean, it does. If you're in a recording setting, that you could pull that kind of stuff off. I don't like hearing that stuff live. I can hear it. I haven't been totally convinced yet that digital is my thing. My back tells me to just go get a little box and plug it in and get this over with.
Yeah.
But I would rather just like I've done. My two main live guitars can get a Stratocaster sound and can get a Les Paul sound on one guitar, so I don't have to choose.
Yeah,
I was
you probably own a few of each.
I have a couple. I have a couple. I don't know. I think I've been carrying the same two guitars around for many years now.
What are the brands?
One of them was an old Arlington Heights company called Hamer Guitars, which became famous from Rick Nielsen. He was their number one client. In fact, he has serial number 1. Or 0000, I think was his. All those custom crazy guitars he has are all Hamers. I was at Soundpost. I don't think I was at Soundpost then, but I went into Soundpost and ordered my Hamer, and then they sent me over to the factory to meet those guys and go over my design. And so I have a Hamer that I take to my shows that is the one and only one ever like it. It was a custom guitar, and they didn't know who I was. I bothered them every single day of every single week until I got that guitar, and then they were rushing it, and they were all asking. I had heard the story later on from the guys. They're like, "Who the hell's Dan Volpe? Why does this guy need this guitar so bad? Like, who is this guy?" They didn't know, getting this custom guitar made. So I think I got a little priority treatment just by being a punk kid that wanted his guitar. The other guitar is just like a Gibson Les Paul that has been really abused. The core of it, everything works and plays, but everything around the guitar is in total disarray.
All right, I digress. Continue, Bongo Mike.
You got it, buddy. Well, it's interesting because a little earlier you were talking about some of the shows that your parents dragged you to, and I always ask the question to every guest and finding out, what was your first concert that you went to? And it can be one of those ones that your parents took you to, or you could go with, hey, the first time I went on my own with my friends. Who was it? Where was it? When was it?
I think the defining live concert experience for me was the Doobie Brothers. With my parents, with my brothers, my aunts. I think everybody was there, and it was one of those aha moments for me to see a live concert that big, and the fact that I was probably
sound.
And I was stoned at 7 years old because of the
and a great contact buzz.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. So that was better than like the box tops, right? I mean,
I loved all that stuff too. I mean, it was you couldn't beat it. I mean,
absolutely.
Back then I had Kiss posters and all sorts of stuff, but I never saw them. I don't even think I saw a video until Kiss Meets the Phantom and actually saw them move,
My God, that movie was so good.
But we had, what do we have? We had, Wolfman Jack and whatever that show that he was on, Midnight Special.
Yeah.
We had Saturday Night Live for all the concerts. We had, what was the other one? Fridays had concerts.
Wasn't also Danny Sugarman's, is it Midnight Special? Was that?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
That was the one, right?
What was the other guy? Don Kirshner's rock concert.
Don Kirshner's rock concert.
Wow. I mean, those, that's what we got before MTV.
Right. We didn't. There wasn't any music television. That's where you got it, or you were lucky enough to catch one of those bands on maybe like Johnny Carson or something. Depending on who it was, Wow.
I never saw AC/DC live, but we saw Let There Be Rock, the concert movie that they made.
In the theaters?
Yeah, and in front of the theater, they lined like 20 Marshall stack cabinets in a row across the front of the thing. I don't know if they were separating the music through that, but it was so loud. And when they would just go into the concert, stuff, and all that sound was coming out, we thought we were seeing AC/DC. It was, that was really cool in 7th grade to see that.
Yeah, yeah. What theater was that at? Do you remember?
No I don't know.
I'm just curious. I can always remember those things. Like I pick out like, oh yeah, I saw that at the Golf Mill Theater, or I saw that at the Lawrence.
It was probably something like that. I cannot recall.
The midnight show, was that a midnight show?
I can't recall.
Yeah. Remember they used to do Song Remains the Same at midnight. I remember. Or Rocky Horror Picture Show,
So all those type of stuff, Yeah.
Stuff. All right. Well, good. And how was vacation? Vacation was good?
It was good.
Relaxed.
I went to a friend who has a very large guitar collection's house and was kind enough to let me stay with him. And I either restrung, did electronics, or full complete setups on every guitar he owned.
Yeah.
As a thanks for
you can't help
having me in there.
You can't help yourself.
No, actually, I can't.
You can't. I know. I didn't. You didn't need to take my guitars. You insisted on taking my guitars.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really bad. My guitars were bad. You were great. You did awesome. So, where are you going to be playing? What's the upcoming shows in the next, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks?
Well, how about
this podcast comes out a little bit. There's a
2-3 week lag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am unsure where I'd have to. I'm not sure if I just disconnected from you guys. Let me look through my calendar.
You're here.
We'll put the coming soon page for you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, if someone's going to book you, they just get in touch with you, or are we going pushing them through the promoters?
You can always reach me through Facebook, through either Exide or My Metal Heart. Or email me at dan@vvxlive.com. And we could discuss it. If not, you could reach Joey DeMarco over at United Talent.
Oh yeah. Well, that brings us to the final question. Pete's favorite question. Pop-Tarts. Love them or hate them?
The chocolate ones I love. Everything else can go by the wayside.
Really? Wow.
I still like them.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of chocolates, right? Pete, we've had a lot of strawberries, a lot of cinnamon.
A lot of cinnamon.
Yeah, a lot of cinnamon, but not a lot of chocolates.
Toasted
that is
or
a good
toasted?
one.
Butter or no butter?
Butter on the chocolate ones? Well, I didn't know you could do that.
You can do anything you want. You could put it in ice cream.
I'm sitting here in stunned silence. I don't know what to say. I've never even considered it.
People do it. They butter those things. Yeah. I don't know if they butter chocolate, but I'm saying if you could butter you can butter a strawberry one, you can butter a chocolate one.
Tuna fish.
What's that?
You can tuna fish.
You can tuna piano. You can tuna fish.
Anyway, if anybody wanted to come and see the band at some point in time, Exide is just on Facebook and has a very random amount of dates. But My Metal Heart is mymetalheart.com, and you can get to Facebook, you can get to YouTube, you can get to all of the other places to come and see us. We're plodding along, usually once per month, but the next one will be either at the Broken Oar, or this upcoming one is at Side Outs on Friday. Exide is at Mount Prospect Fest this Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
A couple other places, we're at Station 34. There's a bunch of different shows. I'm sorry I don't have my itinerary so memorized.
Okay. Don't worry about it. We'll get it on there. Pete likes to post those things across.
I just do short stand. Don't worry about it.
That's okay.
Dan Volpe, man, thank you so much for hanging with us on the Hog Pod. Bongo Mike, thank you, man.
Thanks.
Dan, thanks a lot for coming on. We'll see you out there.
I'll see you guys. Thanks. Bye.
All right, buddy. Stay cool out there. Hydrate all.
Right.
Stay away from that skunk weed.